Attribution, my aunt. Ladies and gentlemen, what anything means. Wait a minute, something's happening.
Circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue the broadcast.
So, going to the Spurs, do you know what the biggest wild card is? Greg Popovich. Some people think that he may have, a year or two left. So that's not the Spurs without Greg Popovich.
Okay, so I want to start this video off by saying something pretty controversial, and I hope I can keep my Spurs fan license after this, because this could very well cause a rift in the time-space continuum. Okay, Brian Wright is a good GM. This move to grab Chris Paul was well-timed and cost the Spurs virtually nothing. Now, are we getting the Chris Paul of old? No. Does this mean that the Spurs are an instant contender? No. But does this signal a transition and commitment to the necessary steps for a dynasty? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is lay out 3 reasons why I love this pickup and why I think the Spurs are making all of the necessary steps towards domination in the NBA.
Tim. I don't see that.
Number 1, the on-the-court coach. So I've seen a few people question why CP3 being added to the roster matters when he can't contribute to the same extent he did in his prime. Why not just make him a coach instead of spending money for a mentor? Well, if those are your thoughts, I personally think it's a tad short-sighted. See, Popovich only has so many timeouts a game. There's only so many times he can yell at you to hedge or switch. There are only so many times he can sit down with you and watch film when you're constantly on the road. Having CP3 alleviates a lot of the growing pains for younger players. Him being on the court with you and actively demonstrating what you're doing wrong is crucially important. Those small details that the coaching staff may have missed can be corrected in real time. And as we all know, repetition is how something becomes a habit, and what better way to receive that repetition than to be playing with a Hall of Fame floor general like CP3. He has one of the highest basketball IQs in NBA history, so you better believe between every dead ball, he'll be giving you some new advice. Him being your teammate is much different than if he was sitting next to Pop, which brings me to my next point. Number 2, he's a mentor. Now, I won't sit here and pretend that Chris Paul has always been my cup of tea. He can be a jerk to opposing teams and even quite condescending. His reputation for being a savvy player even allows him to get away with more than he should. But one thing you can't take away from him is his ability to make connections and be a phenomenal mentor to younger players. So in my last video, I talked about Stephon Castle's ceiling and how it could be close to SGA's, with him having the same frame, defense, rebounding ability, patience, winning attitude, etc. But I would have never guessed in a million years that Castle could be receiving the same mentorship that SGA received. I mean, just look at SGA's numbers pre versus post CP3. Now, I'm not saying Chris Paul is responsible or solely responsible for SGA being what he is today, but I do believe he expedited the process, speeding up his development. Chris Paul loves working with those who love basketball, and he will give you his all if you share the same passion. I mean, just listen to how he talks about SGA.
And Shay, he just a basketball head, right? You show me somebody love basketball and crazy about their family, that me and them gonna be tight, right?
Now, I know that everyone on the team is going to benefit from CP3's mentorship, but I think Castle could benefit the most. He already wants to be a future starting point guard, and what better way to learn the ropes than to learn from one of the best who ever did it? Which leads me to my final point.
Don't bump the mango tree.
You're not the mango tree. I'm the mango.
This is it? I have the leaves. I'm the tree.
Number 3, the blueprint. And I'm not talking about Jay-Z. See, Chris Paul will help the Spurs understand what works best for Wemby. His rookie season was so much fun to watch. We were able to watch Wemby take on several different roles over the course of the season. We've seen him be a point guard, spot-up shooter, back to the basket big, a center, a power forward, and the only thing I am confident in saying is what we should do with Wemby on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, however, is kind of tough to say. See, he has so many things in his bag. I don't know if the Spurs have figured out fully how to use him in the most efficient way. Not the most fun or exhilarating way, but the most efficient. See, Chris Paul can help answer that question. And I know we all love Trey Jones, but he is not the most suitable point guard to put our minds at ease. Finding how and where to give Wemby the ball has been a point of contention all season long. And it's not because Popovich and the coaching staff don't know what they're doing, but but because Popovich and the coaching staff can't get Wemby the ball. And it wasn't malicious from our players either. They tried their absolute best to put him in the right positions, but unfortunately they didn't have the skill set nor the intuition or keen ability to do it. But the good news is Castle has that ability, and he'll learn pretty quickly how to keep Wemby involved. Like I said, this isn't about how many cool plays we can get from Wemby, and we will get a lot, but about how many easy points we can put on the board. Chris Paul isn't what he used to be, and he knows that. He could very well be traded at deadline. We know that. This move doesn't make the Spurs instant contenders. Dez doesn't know that. But one thing I do know is this signing was smart, and it could be much bigger than what a lot of people think. Alright, so I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but thank you so much for supporting the channel. I am blown away by how many subscribers we've already gotten, and it's just been a few videos. So if you guys love the content, please make sure you subscribe. And if you don't like it, if you hate it, just ironically subscribe. I give it you guys later. Till next time, peace.